friends. This is Wendy with LUVLY.com. I'm so excited you're here with me today. We are going to make a fabulous window pop-up frame card or something like that. And I actually have two samples to share with you. We're starting out with doing some ink blending, and I'm using Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, and Coastal Cabana. You may notice my ink blending is not very smooth. It's a little patchy. Frankly, it's because it doesn't need to be smooth. It can just kind of be a little messy, because you'll see why here in a little bit. So I'm just getting the ink down and getting going. Before I get too far into this video, I want to just make it known that if you need any products from me from Stampin' Up, you can purchase them at the link below the video. There's a link directly to my store, and I ask that you do place an order with me if you have a need. And there is also a link to my blog that has all of the supplies listed for this card. So here I'm using the die to just kind of measure out how much of each color I need on my surface. So I realized I needed to bring my red down a little bit more. I needed to bring my pumpkin pie down a little bit more. And then I needed to bring my Daffodil Delight or yellow down a little bit more. So that's all I did there, was just kind of measuring. I am using the Slim Sayings dies for this card, and those dies are probably my favorite, and I really haven't used them that much. So you can expect to see many more cards from me using those dies in the coming weeks. And I apologize here for going off screen a little. I've been swapping back and forth between using a new camera and my iPhone for recording. And in this video, I'm using my new camera. And the clarity of this camera is incredible, as you can see. But I'm struggling a little getting the lighting just right. And so just, be patient with me if you notice that things are a little wonky. So here's where you can see you don't really need to have perfect ink blending, because we're going to cut this up and it's not being used as one solid panel. If I was using this as one solid panel, I would want my ink blending to be extremely smooth and very consistent. But because I'm cutting it up and die cutting it in this very small, little skinny die cut, you'll see when we get it cut out that you don't even notice the inconsistencies. So the other thing I want to mention is I am still doing my walk/ride for the Alzheimer's Association. That's going on the entire month of February. And I do have a free gift when you place a $50 order with me. You will get a purple pack of goodies. And so when you get that purple pack, it will be at the end of February. And I will also be donating $5 for every order. So if every order that I receive in the month of February, I will be donating $5 of my commission to the Alzheimer's Association for that, in conjunction with making my own donation. Some of you have asked some questions about my classes, because you didn't see me have a January card class. That is because I did the paper party instead, and I did offer that paper party for $50. And then there will be a February card class, but I have decided to release my card classes later in the month so that we aren't overlapping so much with, basically, I felt like at the very beginning of the month, there was just all this stuff to share and tell you about, and it was just too much for me. And if it was too much for me, I assumed it was probably too much for you too. So that's what's happening with that. So you can expect to see a February card class coming out. Here I am just cutting this paper at 7 by 8.5. So it's already 8.5 wide. And then I cut it at 7. And then here you can see I accidentally cut it at 7.5. So I needed to just put it back in my trimmer and trim off that 1/2 inch that I left on. So I cut it at 7 by 8.5, and then I scored it at 3.5 on that portrait side, on the 7-inch side. And then you can see how beautiful this looks layered onto a white card base. Now, you could, and I was just verifying there that this was going to fit into the envelope, and it does. So you could make this card like really with any design you want. But I absolutely love this mosaic die cut. However, you can see here a mistake I have made. I did not use Stampin' Up's adhesive sheets to die cut this. So adhesive sheets are sheets that go on the back of intricate die cuts. You place them on the cardstock before you cut them. And then when you cut them, they have adhesive on them already. So you don't have to do what I'm doing right here, which is being extremely careful to not get glue all over the place. And I'm having to make sure I get glue all over the place, if you know what I'm saying. So if you don't want to have to go through what I'm going through here, and this video is sped up, y'all, I don't move this fast. So if you don't want to have to go through what I'm going through here, I highly suggest putting a sticky sheet on your cardstock before you run it through the die cut machine. If I would have done that, I wouldn't have been going through that. So placing this die cut is a little tricky because all of the little inner workings, the inside of this die cut, really move easily. So you can see here on screen that it's cattywampus. I did not get this perfectly straight on here. If I had it to do over, I would probably die cut this 3 times and stack it on top of each other so it was a little bit more heavy duty and it would stand up from the cardstock a little bit more. So learn my lesson, do what I say, not what I do. And hopefully that will help you. Okay, so here we have a piece of basic white thick cardstock, and it is cut at 8 1/4 by 3 1/4, and I'm measuring the die cut off screen. That's why I went off screen there. So 8 1/4 by 3 1/4 is what I'm cutting this at. And then I'm going to put my trimmer in at the 1/4 inch mark on the bar. So I'm looking at the measurements on the bar, and sorry about my hair being in the way, but I had to get right over the top of this to cut it. And we're only cutting 1/4 inch away from each side. So we don't want to cut all the way to the ends because basically what I'm doing is making a frame. I want to cut the center of this out. So if this is a confusing step, let me know in the comments below and I can try to explain it better. But basically you're just going to take your paper trimmer and you're going to line up the edge of your cardstock at the 1/4 inch mark at the top of the trimmer. And then you're going to cut from 1/4 inch down to 1/4 inch short of the bottom. Does that make sense? And you just keep turning it until you get this frame. It's really simple, I promise. So that's our frame that's going to pop up off of the front of this card. Now, I want to say also, I shared in the blog post, but I also want to say here, this is not my original idea as far as the pop-up window frame. This is from Jennifer McGuire. She made some beautiful pop-up window frame cards that I thought were just gorgeous, and I wanted to try my hand at them. And I thought maybe some of you would be interested in seeing how to make them as well, in case you don't follow her or didn't see her videos. So here I'm taking a window sheet and I am simply trimming skinny little pieces of the window sheet off to create my little springs. So with this, excuse me, what you want to do is create like a W shape. So I am literally folding back and forth, like, you know, you would do like a peak valley. I'm folding back and forth to make these little springs. And I know I'm off camera here, but don't worry, I make several of these, so you'll see them. And this is what they look like when they're finished. It's really hard to show you, but you can see here, it's like a little, so I'm trying to figure out how to show you so you can see it really well. There, you can actually see it the best right there. It's like a little W. So you're going to fold up and back and up and back, and then trim off any excess. And you don't even measure this, okay? Like I didn't measure any of these. I just trimmed them and then I just folded them really tiny in this W shape, and it worked. I really doubted it. I'm going to be honest. I made a card before this one that I'm showing you because I was like, I'm going to need to make this card first to make sure this will actually work. And by goodness, it sure did. It worked. So, I really apologize for being off camera. These are a little bit difficult to fold. So keeping it like in the camera lens and not bringing it close to my face was really hard. The reason I keep going off camera is because I'm having to bring it close to my face so I could see what I'm doing. I do not have good vision, like at all. If I'm not wearing my glasses, I basically can't see. So I can't always, like something small like this, if I need to see how it's lining up, sometimes I have to bring it off camera and closer to my face so that I can see it. So I'm going to make all of these and then we're going to adhere them and we're going to make our little pop-up and the die cuts for the center of the card, the little words. And then I'm going to show you the rest of my other card because my other card is fabulous and it's using the brand new Waves of the Ocean bundle collection. It's so cute. And that will be available March 1st. So there'll be more information to come on that set. I really didn't think I would like it, to be honest with you. I loved it. I had so much fun playing with it. I can't wait for you to see the card at the end of the video. So here I'm making 6 of these. I would recommend making 6 of these little springs for every card. You want 3 on each side. And when you adhere them, you want them to be facing inward. So you want the middle peak to face in towards the card, not out. And I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing here because I'm using clear acetate on, and so like you probably can barely even see these, but basically I'm gluing them on, like I said, 3 on each side, and I'm doing that for both sizes. I'm not doing that. I didn't do it just because this is a slimline. I also used 3 on each side for my other card. So what I found the easiest to do was to glue all of your springs on the frame first. Make them all face inward to each other. So the little W peak in the middle should face inward. Okay. So that was my first step. Then I set this frame aside and I let that glue set up really good. You want to let it dry really well. And then you want to adhere it to your card base. So you'll see the whole process. I'll do the whole thing, but that's just my tip for you. Adhere all your little springs, let them set aside and set up really good so they're glued to the cardstock really well, and then worry about adhering it to the card. Here I used the Amazing Thanks dies to create the sentiment, and I used basic black and basic white to just layer these guys up and put them on the front of the card. Okay, we're going to have a little story time. I'm going to do my best to get through the story time and tell you about the card. If you're new here and you don't know what story time is, on Saturdays, I like to catch up with all of my friends who watch me regularly, say hello, tell a little bit about what's going on in my life, and we just like to hang out and visit. If that's not your jam, that's okay. We don't mind. You don't have to leave any sort of nasty comment for me telling me that you don't like my chitter chatter. It's okay. We're fine with that. But the rest of us here like to hang out and visit. So that's what we do on Saturdays. So I had an interesting week other than my husband working crazy hours again. On Thursday night, I went to an event with a friend. She has invited me to go to her church several times. She is Catholic. I am not Catholic. I guess you would call me Protestant Christian. I'm just a regular old non-denominational Christian, okay? So I've never attended anything at her church because it's a little uncomfortable for me. And it has nothing to do with, like, I don't have anything against Catholicism. I just am not familiar with it. So I think anytime we go to do something that is unfamiliar, it feels a little uncomfortable, right? So I finally agree with her, okay, I will go to this thing they're having. And it's like a deeper relationship with Christ thing. It's 8 weeks long. It's on a Thursday night, which y'all, I really don't like getting out at night because I don't see well to drive at night. Yes, I'm an old lady. And I just like spending time with my family in the evenings. I struggle to go out at night. It's just the truth. So since she has asked me so many times to attend an event, I thought, okay, I'm going to go to this one. I think truthfully, she wants to convert me to Catholicism. But it didn't matter to me. I was going for her, and that's what the important part was for me. And I mean, it's God is God. So, you know, it may not be the religion I necessarily was raised with or identify with, but I figured nothing bad can come of it. So I go to the church and it starts at 7 p.m. And I go in and it's beautiful in the foyer. We weren't in the actual church part. We were like in the foyer, and there were tables and chairs set up with linens, and I mean, they were serving a full dinner, and I was just like, I was kind of blown away. I was like, wow, this is something. And so we ate dinner and they had a little talk, and then they had like a screen with a talk about the meaning of life. And it was really good. The talk was really good. It was really inspiring. They quoted a lot of Bible verses in the talk and references to just different things about the meaning of life and Jesus and stuff like that. And one of the things she shared with me is that she feels like one of the things lacking in Catholicism is the teaching of having a personal relationship with Christ. So that's kind of what this whole thing is about. It's 8 weeks long, and it's about deepening your relationship with Christ. And so I really enjoyed it. But the thing that blew me away the most, two things. One is that she shared with me that when they do this, the priest who runs the church stays in the back and washes dishes the whole time. First of all, I don't know about y'all, but in the Southern Baptist Church, the men ain't doing the work, okay? The men ain't washing nothing. They ain't cooking nothing. That ain't how that goes. So I don't know about you. If you go to any sort of other type of church, but for me, going to Pentecostal or Baptist churches, which is what I was raised in, the women did everything. So that I was like blown away by that. Then the other thing is that they had wine. They were serving wine. And I was like, is that wine? And she was like, yeah, Catholics drink wine. And I was like, okay. And she was like, yeah, just go get yourself a glass of wine and get your dinner. I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So, I have never been in a church service where there's actual alcohol. Now, granted, it wasn't really a church service. It's more like a seminar thing that they're doing. But still, we're in the foyer of the church and there's alcohol being served. I was just, oh, here's the ocean card. Is this not gorgeous? Sorry. Squirrel, ocean card, incredible. Aren't these beautiful? So these products will be available March 1st, unless you purchase the starter kit, in which case you can put them in the starter kit. If you want the info for that, the link is in the description below. Go to measurements and supplies, click that link, and I have the info over on my blog. And here are the finished cards. We are out of time, but I think I'm going to go again next week to this awesome service thing that they have, you know, and it's really incredible. You all tell me what you think. If you're Catholic, let me know, like, what, you know, does this sound cool to you? I've never attended a Catholic church. I've never even been in a Catholic service. But it was very interesting and it was a lot of fun. And so I think I'll go again just because. If you have any questions for me or you want to shop with me, links below the video. Until next time, keep your fingers inky and don't forget to subscribe and hit that little thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.